What's happening, people? We are here. We are live. Match day 5 comes to an end for Manchester United, and Manchester United walk away with 1 point from Selhurst Park. Big up to everyone locked in on this Saturday night one. This ain't going to be a long one. I'm not going to lie. It's not going to be the longest stream because you know the boxing is on in about an hour and a bit, maybe 2 hours. But we're going to talk about a lot because I'm so angry, guys. I am annoyed. If you watch the match view, you would definitely know how I was feeling throughout the game. I was feeling quite confident, optimistic, but as the game went on, I'm really disappointed to actually walk away with a point from Selhurst Park, given the fact that Manchester United actually have never got a point there under Erik ten Hag. So that is one thing to look at. But big up to everyone locked in. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe if you are new here. Mina State of Mind, you know what it is, man. After a match day, we're here to chop it up and talk about all things Manchester United regarding that performance. Where should we start, guys? Where should we start? Let's talk about the first half. Before we kind of get into the normal thing where we bring up the graphics and all of that kind of stuff. I think that was easily Manchester United's best performance in the first half in a long time. Like, if Manchester United had been able to continue that into the second half and see the game out and get the win, I would have said that was probably Manchester United's best performance in about a season and a half under Erik ten Hag. But that first half was definitely way more positive than what we've seen and what we've been treated to by Manchester United. One thing I liked, in my opinion, is that the way that Erik ten Hag set up the team with Eriksen involved, with Garnacho, with Ahmad, with Xerxes, Kobe, etc., is that, you know, Manchester United were playing to dictate the first half, not so be a passenger and try to adjust to the opponent. And I really like that because, in my opinion, that did bring out some errors in Crystal Palace, especially the press. The press in the first half was definitely better, you know, forcing players to make errors. They were a bit erratic on the ball. Dean Henderson just kicking it out once or twice. So that was definitely a positive. But the biggest issue continues. Manchester United cannot find the back of the net. And that is a problem. Man United can't score goals. They cannot score goals. They're in the bottom half of the table right now. I think they're 11th right now with a 0 goal difference. 5 games in, 7 points. I couldn't say that's completely a positive. I'm not going to lie. I can't say that's completely positive. But I do want to kind of step away from the emotional side of the game and the emotional side of being a fan and definitely try to analyze exactly what is it that did not work for Manchester United. And, you know, we're going to talk about the subs because I think the substitutions completely changed the entire dynamic of the game. Without a doubt, for me, it completely changed the game. Joshua Xerxes coming off was actually criminal. If I was to say that anything was criminal, I would definitely say that it was that. Joshua Xerxes coming off, for me, that was the biggest game changer. That actually gave Crystal Palace momentum. Of course, we're going to talk about Bruno Fernandes as well, because I think he didn't have the best performance that I've seen in a United shirt. And I think we actually could have done with him coming off instead of Joshua Xerxes. Now, in the first half, you know, some of those chances, like, I don't know how people can blame Erik ten Hag per se for that. Like, Erik ten Hag, the only thing he can do in those situations is literally come on the pitch and put the ball in the back of the net. People need to finish their food. Whether it's Garnacho, whether it's Bruno, whether it's Xerxes, whoever it is that's getting chances, they need to put the ball in the back of the net. That is, for me, the most important part. And in particular, if we were to look at, you know, the chances that fell to Garnacho, you know, Xerxes could have had an assist, Dalot should have had an assist. Garnacho had 3, I would say, chances. 2 of them, I would say, clear-cut chances. 1 of them, maybe he should have put in the back of the net. And, you know, we'd be sitting here and discussing a completely different conversation. Right now, Bruno Fernandes as well in front of goal, very erratic, similar to how he is in possession. I feel like in front of goal, he just makes bad decisions. And in particular, I'm talking about that outside of the boot shot that he took first time, where he actually has time to let it run across his body and kind of strike it a bit better with his right foot. If he let it run across, maybe he could have that would have taken the defender out of the game that was on his left, and, you know, striking it first time with his more stronger foot. Instead, he decided to kind of play outside of the boot shot first time. I don't see the need for that. I really do not see the need for that. But that's my thoughts on the first half. For me, easily that was Man United's better first half. I think you know, it looks like Erik ten Hag has moved away. I'm going to say moved away. He could return, but he's moved away from 3-1-6 in build up. It looked like United were building up in a 3-5-2. Clearly, he's realized that 3-1-6 is not working. He had Dalot kind of inverting alongside Kobe, which allowed Eriksen a bit more freedom. Bruno a lot more freedom as well, trying to push up into the advanced 8 role. So that was definitely a positive in the first half. But my second half was a tale. The game was a tale of two halves. Not that the second half was the worst. I'm not going to say it was horrible, because it wasn't horrible. But in terms of the drop off from the first half, there was definitely a big shift. And I think even Glasner realized it, because he took Mateta off, he took Wharton off, he took two players off coming into the second half, one of whom is their more dominant striker. And he completely changed their tactics. Before, they were struggling to build up. They were struggling to get out of United's press. They were struggling just to make anything of the ball in possession. And when they did make a change, I don't know if you realized, but it looked like they were targeting more the isolated 1v1s. They were targeting more the run in behind because of the pace, etc., etc. And for me, that changed the game. Eze got a bit confident, and Nketiah got a bit more confident. Ismail Assar came on and he was a bit confident, and he was happy to try and make runs in behind. And he actually did something really good where he ran in behind between Licha and Dallo, and then cuts it back and puts it on a plate for Eze, and Eze maybe should have put it away. He should have maybe put it away. And Anna makes two great saves as well. That second half for me just shows you how quickly Man United can kind of drop off, right? It just shows you how much it can, like, you can have a good first half, but in my opinion, and this is why football is results based. It's a results based competition. If you do not get goals and you do not win, no one's going to look back at this game and be like, oh, but we performed well in the first half. No one's going to say that. But at the end of this season, say United lose out on top 4 by 2 or 3 points. No one's going to be like, oh, but we played good against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park for about 60 minutes. No one's going to say that. Everyone's going to say that is the game where we should have won and we should have got 3 points. But actually, let's get into this, because for me, this is one thing that's actually is bothering me quite a bit. It's just the manner in which Manchester United miss opportunities. Like, big chances missed in the Premier League, 17, 5 games into the season. Completely different story if Manchester United make all those chances. Man United could win 4 out of 5 in their first games. It's a completely different story. And this is why it's just so frustrating. And I understand, we've got a Garnacho who's flying. We've got Rashford who's been benched. We've got Amad Diallo. We've got a Xerxes who's not really that traditional number 9 and is a different type of number 9. But equally so, there's no reason in 5 games of the season, there's no reason why Manchester United should be having this many big chances missed. They need to finish their food. And I don't think I can emphasize that enough. I actually don't think I can really emphasize this enough. That finishing their chances is what's probably causing all of this. Like, we can argue and say that is actually probably what's causing this problem right now. It's the fact that if they finish their chances today, United's 2-3-0 up in the first half, and we're probably sitting here having a completely different conversation. We might be having a different conversation after the Brighton game. Man United, like I said, if they finished their chances, could have won 4 and 5. I'm taking Liverpool out of that because that was just a dreadful performance. So I'm talking about Brighton. I'm talking about, the games that United are losing. It's just, or drawing. Today feels like a loss. It's really sad. But I also think that when you step aside from the emotional side of stuff and you just kind of look at it as a whole, and you take the emotions out of your analysis, I think there is definitely some positives that we can take from this game. But equally, it's making me sit back and think, raw, like, what are we going to do about this Bruno thing? Because to me today, Bruno was a hindrance. He was an absolute hindrance. And I definitely, I could go as far as to say that if he had come off at the 60th minute instead of Xerxes, United would have won the game. Big up to Uthman, says, big up Mina. I've bit the bullet on this team. My heart is numb. I'm God's loneliest man. United have hurt me. Well, like, bro, like, come on. United, it's not even a loss today. But a lot of people I've been speaking to has been saying it feels like a loss. It feels like a loss. MUFC Coolin says, I hate draws. I don't like draws either, especially in a draw that I feel like United should win or United should walk away with a result. I don't like it. I've always criticized Bruno, and today the world saw it. Man is becoming worse. It's really making me wonder. I'm not gonna lie. It's really making me wonder why this new contract that was given to him, pay rise, $350 a week, $325, however much it is, but it's definitely above 300k. Why was that given to him? And I said this like 2 years ago. I remember I had this debate on UV. I said that if Bruno doesn't change his style of play and he doesn't become a bit more disciplined and he doesn't become a bit more responsible on the ball, I said if when Ineos come in, they are gonna look to get rid of him. Like I literally said that. Of course, Ineos proved me wrong because they decided to give him a contract. But I'm seeing more and more, can him and a player like Ericsson and Xerxes, etc., really work well together in a team? Because I'm really disappointed that Xerxes came off. When I saw Rashford warming up and he was getting ready to come on, I thought, okay, maybe it is for Bruno. Maybe Ten Hag has realized. I mean, Casemiro was hooked at halftime against Liverpool, and that was a stinker. And I just don't see why the same standards are not upheld for other players. I'm not saying that he dropped equally as bad of a stinker as Casemiro did, but he was a big hindrance for Manchester United today. Possession given away sloppily so many times, just ridiculous balls into the boxes that no one's getting onto the end on the end of. Short corners then amounting for nothing. It was really bad decisions that he was making with the ball at his feet. And he's meant to be one of the more experienced, the bigger professionals. Like he should be responsible and capable and be an example of on the ball. Why is it that he's not? Why is it that he's not? And also then you get to, his opportunities in front of goal and you're thinking you need to finish those. And I'm not going to be too harsh on him for his chances in front of goal because, equally saying that, I'm saying also, Garnacho and all of them guys should finish their food as well. But for me, my biggest issue with Bruno today was in possession. It was so wasteful, so distasteful that it was actually becoming a hindrance to Manchester United to a point where they would hold on to possession for a certain amount of time and it would get to Bruno and they lose it. And what happens? The opponent can capitalize, build off that, and gain some momentum to kind of get back into the game and claw back into the game. You know what it reminded me of in the first half, guys? You know when you like bury someone? United were burying Crystal Palace, right? But then they forgot to like put the final bits of dust on top of them. And essentially they just clawed their way back out of the grave and managed to save themselves and get a point. They managed to save themselves and get a point. I think Crystal Palace would actually be happy with that result today because, yes, historically under Ten Hag, they've beaten Manchester United. But in terms of that performance, it was much more damning for them to kind of be dominated in that manner in the first half, especially given the fact that, Manchester United started the season that great. Bruno is confirmation bias. The GA doesn't paint the bigger picture. And if we let Ericsson go and we don't replace him, well, what is the direction going forward for technical ability in the midfield? That's a valid point. Big up to Ridwan says the positives that I took is we performed well in the first half. The style of play was evident in that half. We defended well. We kept a clean sheet. The negatives are obvious. Yeah, I definitely think there's positives. Like I will never sit here and say there's no positives. I definitely think there's more positives than negatives in this game. And I'm not going to lie, if Manchester United continue to play in the manner in which they played today in that first half, if they continue to play on like next week against Spurs, if we play the way that we played in the early stages of today's game, I won't be mad at that because to me, it's like you're growing after each game and you're learning and you're kind of building on it. But if Man United regress and go back to square one, that is my issue. That will be my issue against Spurs next week. But just like I just said quickly on Bruno, just some stats for Bruno today. Played 90 minutes, had 4 shots, had a 72% pass accuracy, which was the lowest pass accuracy of any starter for Manchester United today. Created 2 chances, shot accuracy, and this is where the shot accuracy comes in. 0% shot accuracy. All his shots blasted wide or left or right. 1 big chance missed. 112 touches, 4 touches in the opponent's box, and then this is where the creative stats come in. 0% accurate crosses, that's 0 for 6, and long balls 2 for 9, which is 22%. That is poor. That is poor. For me, like that's not good. That's not good, especially when you're someone that expects to have a bit more possession in the game, and you're someone that United probably maybe want to build up through or try to get the attack going through. Like, it's just not good. It's just not good. And like I said, I'm not sitting here saying it's solely Bruno's fault why United got a draw, but I'm just thinking if we had a more disciplined person, if Bruno was a bit more disciplined in those situations, Manchester United could have continued applying the pressure on Crystal Palace and could have easily maybe gotten a goal eventually. Like the goal was there for the taking, in my opinion. In the first half, I feel like the goal was there. It's just United were not on it. They weren't really on it. And that was, for me, the biggest problem. This is what happens when you don't take your chances. Simple as, to me, this isn't on the manager. His tactics for 60 minutes should have at least had us up 2 goals. I agree with that part in terms of up to 60 minutes, but a game is not 60 minutes. A game is 90 minutes. And if you're telling me we spent 1/3 of the game kind of nullified because the substitutions were, in my opinion, completely misguided, then I'm going to call it out. I'm not saying that this is solely on the manager, but for me, the substitutions kind of took the sting and the buzz out of the game, and you can't afford to do that. For me, not when you're away at Selhurst Park in a stadium that Erik ten Hag under Manchester United under Erik ten Hag have not performed well there. So you're telling me the first good performance that United have had against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park, that it's a 60-minute game? It's not a 60-minute game. Yes, by half-time United should be up 2-0. Garnacho finishes his food, it's a different story. Bruno finishes his chance, it's a different story. De Ligt finishes his chance, it's a different story. But equally saying that football is not a 60-minute game, it's a 90-minute game. And if you spend 1/3 of the game completely kind of nullified, and you've taken the sting out of that 30 minutes because you've made bad changes, then that is on you, and we have to accept that. Like, for me, the changes that the manager made, nothing. Like, there was nothing in those changes that Erik ten Hag made that, for me, changed the game. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Crystal Palace made changes, can I say? Crystal Palace made some changes, and it changed the way that they were playing. It changed the way that they were playing. Why? Because Manchester United dictated and set the tempo of the game, and so they had to adjust, which they did in the second half. They immediately made changes. They took off their target man and they brought on someone that can make runs in behind, and they congested the midfield a bit more. It worked for them to kind of perform better in the second half. But equally saying that, the second half, Manchester United, I think, took the gas off. They took the gas off. And that is what you're missing. United need a killer. Like, YouTube, don't get me demonetized. I don't literally mean a killer, but they need someone with that killer instinct that just can, I'm sure you lot understand what I'm trying to get, but that's what United lack right now. They lack a killer, and that is the problem. You can put everyone in front of the goal. You can give them all of you can give them all the chances in the world, but if they are really, like, if you need 15 chances to get 1 goal, I'm sorry, but you're not a killer. You're not a goal scorer. You're not a prolific goal scorer. You're not a great striker of the ball. You're not good. You are okay. You are okay. And, like, for example, the starting lineup today, I actually think Erik ten Hag got it bang on. I actually think Erik ten Hag got the starting lineup bang on. I think taking Garnacho, starting Garnacho over and Ahmad over Rashford, I have no issue. But this is my issue, and I don't want it to become a thing. I hope it doesn't become a thing. But if Rashford performs like this coming off the bench because he's been dropped out of the starting lineup, you're better off just not bringing him on at all, because there was not a change that Erik ten Hag made today that I think took United to a next level. Do you guys get what I'm saying? I don't think there was any substitution that took United a step up from what they were missing throughout that 60, 65, 70 minutes of the game. I think Marcus Rashford just looked like he was just there, but he's playing, in my opinion, through the middle for the beginning part. Garnacho on the left, Ahmad on the right. Like, we know, like, it doesn't take a magician to figure out that Rashford is not a middle guy. He does not play through the middle, right? But equally so, I would have said it would have been harsh to take Garnacho off, and it would have been harsh to also take Ahmad off. I said this during the game. I said the best decision, in my opinion, would have been to keep Xerxes on and take Bruno off. Put Rashford, if you want to play Rashford up top and get him running in behind, the best person that you can have on the pitch to get him running in behind is Xerxes, because Xerxes, playing as that second striker where he drops off the striker and he kind of occupies the space of the 10, it would force, Richards or Lacroix or Gay. It will force one of the centre-backs out, and it would give space for Rashford to kind of be in a 1v1 situation. It would allow, Ahmad to run in behind, Garnacho to run in behind, and you got Xerxes who can play good one-touch football. For me, Xerxes isn't like Bruno. He doesn't need a lot of touches on the ball to do what he wants to do. He just, bam, one-touch pass, and you've got Christian Eriksen, who for me, I think is a better reader of the game than Bruno is. So I would have liked that to happen. And that's why I say Erik ten Hag got the subs really, really wrong today. Yes, United should be up 2-0 in the first half. Absolutely. But equally so, when you are still chasing that first goal, you cannot afford to take the sting out of the game by making those changes. I think you misinterpreted what I say. We scored 2 goals, it changes the game. Palace is now chasing, and we have the players coming off the bench to hit them on the counter. That's true. I get what you mean. Is if United are up 2 goals, you make those changes, and United could actually capitalize it on and get 3 and get 4, because Palace will kind of be pushing for a goal and pushing for some redemption and to like claw themselves back into the game. So I do get that, but equally so, I think we need to say it as it is. Like, the changes for me were poor. They were absolutely wrong. Next summer we need an Eze type midfielder. We still don't have a controller in midfield. It's interesting with the Eze thing, because I think Eze took a bit of time to kind of grow into the game. Obviously, I feel like first half that no one in the Palace team was really in it, and second half it's like they just turned on the burners, and Eze was more comfortable dribbling and more comfortable getting through 1-2. There was a chance, I think, where between him and Ismail Assar, I think one of them was surrounded by 4 United players, and he still managed to get away and get the cross in. I think it was, I want to say it was Ismail Assar, and he got the ball from Eze. Excuse me. Mina, we have scored 57 and 56 goals in the league under Erik ten Hag. It's not a surprise to see us not scoring enough goals. This hasn't been addressed by the coaching team. Do you guys think, in hindsight, you look back and think United should have got Ivan Toney or someone that, I'm going to say like a Solanke, or someone who's a proven goal scorer in the league, someone that will get you 10, 15 goals at the least in the league? Do you guys feel that? Because I think obviously with Xerxes, I don't regret that signing. I actually don't. But then, we can't rely on Højlund too much. This weight that people are putting on Højlund's shoulders, for me, is too much. It's way too much. This is a guy fresh off an injury, his second season, didn't really score in the Premier League until December last season. We're putting way too much weight on him, and that's why I think, that's why I actually think, I'm looking back and thinking, yeah, United should have signed a striker. That Rashford Xerxes sub completely reversed the flow of the game. Awful decision. I absolutely agree. For such a big bench, Ten Hag really messed up those subs. You look at the bench, guys, right? Man United had over 300 million sitting on the bench today. Manchester United had over 3. We had Ugarte, Casemiro, Anthony, Højlund, Mount. We had over, I think that's actually half of what Ten Hag has spent was sitting on the bench today. And for me, it's like, I'm not criticizing the manager for the starting 11, because like I said, I think he got the starting 11 bang on. And it really allowed United to kind of dictate the game. But you look at all of that quality money on the bench, and you think not one of you guys could have come on and scored. I actually think the Ugarte substitution was an interesting one. I would have brought on Casemiro, in my opinion. I actually would have brought on Casemiro and get him to play that more advanced role, because Erik ten Hag, this is the thing, you have Kobe playing 90 minutes, and half of it you got him playing deep, and then the other half you got him playing more advanced. I would have brought on Casemiro, who's, I think, way better away from Man United's goal, can pass better, and also a set piece threat, which Manchester United had a lot of chances from set pieces. When Ugarte came on, Ugarte was to protect the draw. Yeah, when Ugarte came on, I think that was Erik ten Hag's way of shutting up shop. That was, you know what, we got the point, and we're going to walk away from Selhurst Park with the point. And I understand that, because, historically under Ten Hag, especially like last season and against Brighton, United concede late goals. I get that. But equally so, would you guys have been mad, right, if Manchester United had brought on Casemiro and you saw that we had ended up drawing? It just, for me, it's like bringing on Ugarte accepted that draw. It was accepting that draw, having him sitting in front of the back line. And someone mentions it here quickly. Scoring against low blocks has been an issue for 5-6 years now. Erik ten Hag's first season at Manchester United in Europa League, I don't know if you lot remember, Ammonia or Sheriff, all these random teams we played in Europa League, we struggled against low block. Do you guys remember? I think Garnacho scored in a game and it was 1-0 away from home in the Europa League in the group stages. Erik ten Hag's first year, we struggled against low block. And if you're telling me that still 2 years later, in your third season, you're still struggling against low block, despite the fact that now you've got your team, I don't think, I wouldn't say United really struggled today. Like, I don't think it was a struggle performance. Like, I actually don't think it was a struggle performance. Like I said, I think the first half was the best half that I've seen under Erik ten Hag in about 18 months. But again, football is not played in halves, and we kind of need to accept that. Bruno's passing in the final third is laughable. Remember the shot Bruno took from the corner, Mina, and we got broken on us. Don't remind me. Don't remind me. Do not, please, don't remind me. But big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe as well. We saw Ahmad come off. What did you lot think of that substitution? Did you think that was the right substitution? Did you think he should have seen the game out with Garnacho, with, you know, the rest of the team? Because I think he actually had an interesting battle against Tyreek Mitchell. I think Tyreek Mitchell tried his best to hold his own, but I don't know if you realize, but a lot of the time Crystal Palace did double up on the wingers, so it did make the battle a bit difficult because they're playing a three in the back but five when they're defending. They have their wing backs defending, and essentially the centre back can kind of push out a little bit and also double up, and that happened quite a few times to Ahmad. You kind of saw the physical battle between him and Tyreek Mitchell, and I think before, if this was Ahmad, he would have struggled. But today, I think physically, he kind of had like Tyreek Mitchell was grabbing him non-stop from his shirt. Like it looked like his shirt was about to rip at one point. And I don't understand sometimes the changes that Eric Ten Hag makes, in my opinion. I really don't. I like the link up between Xerxes, between Ahmad, between Maino, between Mazraoui. I like the relationship that the four of them have with each other because simple football IQ. They don't need to pass too much. They don't need too many touches. They don't need to dribble a lot. It's just simple pass and move football. It's as simple as that. And all four of them do that very well. And then you got Bruno that gets the ball and just launches a rocket into Rosie, or he just plays a first time pass unnecessary. There was so many times today, I think, with Bruno that I just said, why? Like he would do something and I would be like, why? It completely made no sense to me. Ahmad coming off was an abomination of a decision. He should never have come off because Rashford and Nacho are similar players, same as Xerxes coming off. He doesn't like Ahmad. He wished that was his favorite blonde fidget spinner. I think Eric Ten Hag has actually accepted that Anthony's not that guy. Like for me, like just quickly on Anthony, his performance against Barnsley for me confirmed to me that he should never be anywhere near Manchester United. And I hope they sell him. You know, it's nice to have him on the bench for numbers, but equally so, we're never going to use him. I'm never going to look and think, oh my God, we need to bring on Anthony. He's going to change the game for us. Like that Barnsley game absolutely confirmed to me that he is not good enough to play at Manchester United. And Man United have talent. We have talent in that wide space, but I do think we're a bit light there, especially now that we let Sancho go. You know, we are one injury away possibly from seeing Anthony back in the lineup. Or seeing someone else, like I don't know, like Bruno Fernandes. Oh shit! Give me a second, guys. I gotta go. All right, we back, guys. I'm hosting my family to watch the boxing, right? And I'm sitting here on stream, and I know they're probably all on their way to come watch the boxing. Let me see what you lot are saying in the chat. Big up to MUFC 14. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate the contribution. Says, then why did we sign Højlund and Xerxes? I remember everyone was praising them. If they are not strikers, then what are they? And why didn't we sign strikers? I'm not saying Højlund is not a striker, but equally so. When I'm talking about United need killers, they need people with killer instinct in front of the goal. I don't want to say it, but for example, look at what's it called? Look at Haaland. I think he's got like a 45% conversion this season. That's what you call a killer in front of goal. And I'm not saying United need Haaland, but they need a player that is a killer in front of goal, because otherwise we're just going to sit here time and time again looking at something like this and being like, oh my God, look at all the chances United create. Oh my God, United need to do better and take their chances. Like, for me, that is the most important thing. Let me see what else you guys are saying as well. It was the wrong situation. Big up OJ, by the way, says it was the wrong situation. Garnacho and Rashford are practically the same type of player. For me, it's either or. You don't play both because there is no balance. Ahmad is technically better. Yeah, I think taking off Ahmad for me just kind of switched up the entire game. And like I said already, for me, this is the moment that the game changed for United, is when Xerxes came off. That is when the game changed. I'm not saying Xerxes would have found the back of the net, because I don't even think he had a shot on goal, but he did everything to get his friends or his teammates in the right place. Like, he did everything right. He should have had 2 assists. Like, I promise you, if Garnacho finishes his chance, and Bruno finishes that chance where it's ridiculous, he strikes it with the outside of his boot first time, like, and then the other chance that hit off the bar, and then he volleys it into the ground and it hits off the bar. If he done that, if he finished his chance and Garnacho finished his chance, we would be sitting here talking about how Joshua Zirkzee is an amazing creator. He created so many opportunities today, and just kept things simple, that him coming off changed the trajectory of the game for Man United, without a doubt. And Erik ten Hag has to accept, in my opinion, that he got it wrong. Like, the subs were wrong. Let's actually see. You know, I haven't seen Erik ten Hag's post-match comments. So you lot know I always hate reading his post-match comments. So let's see what he said post-match. I heard that he went off on the Jamie Redknapp, talking about, because Jamie Redknapp was talking about Rashford. All right, Erik ten Hag says, we should have won. In the first half, we left them alive. We should have scored 1 or 2 goals. The second half was more balanced. He went on to say, we have worked very hard as a team to be defensively compact. Also on the ball, we want very good structures and control. Anana was interviewed after the game and said, today our guys did their best, but God did not want the ball to go in the back of the net. Did he actually say that? Did he actually say that? That is the kind of thing, like, when I fail an exam and my parents ask me, why'd you fail? God never wanted me to pass. We got to think, what is it in Arabic? Qadar Allah. You know, is the qadar. He's basically saying it's the qadar, that's why we did not put the ball in the back of the net. Big up Wajid says, 5 games in and we're already at a point of taking positives from games we should have. We should have won. I assume that's what you're saying. Year 3 and I'm tired already. You better, bro, you better strap in, because it's gonna get more bumpy. The thing is, guys, right? Let's be honest. We got Spurs next week, right? And if, hypothetically speaking, if United go on and have a better performance, and build off of today's game and beat Spurs, we're gonna be impressed. I wouldn't say impressed, but we will be kind of have more positives to talk about, because we will feel like we're building game on game. And for me, I don't want to feel like this is done in, like, this performance is in vain. Basically, I don't want to feel like this performance today, we're just going to end up at square one again next week. Excuse me, because also I forgot we got a midweek game. Oh, I forgot we're playing Europa League as well, bro. Big up to Ash, says, hey, man, I missed the match. Why was Rashford on the bench? Erik ten Hag put him on the bench because he just said rotation. That's it. He just said rotation. Now we're fully inshallah and vibes, you know. It's for me, I need to see people take their chances, and not only take their chances, but score their chances. Like, for me, like, I don't know what else I could possibly say about today's game that probably hasn't been said already. Like, I think De Ligt did well. I think Leach, there was that thing that Leach did where he jumped on the ball, guys. What is wrong with him? Sometimes you can take the man out of Argentina, but you can't take Argentina out of the man, because that is a Marcus Rojo attempt of trying to get possession. Because my guy jumped flat-footed, bam, onto the ball. He tried to step on it. And he got booked for it, rightfully so. That was not good. That was not good. And you know what? I actually feel like Crystal Palace today, because they kind of got into gear a bit later into the game, if they found their bearings a bit earlier, it would have been a different ball game. Poor second half. And the worst thing is, Bruno needs to be benched for Tottenham, but he won't be. I love him, but boy, Erik ten Hag needs to be realistic. Xerxes link up is one of the main reasons we played through that low block. Erik ten Hag decided he wants Rashford to run behind a low block with a sweeper keeper. It don't make sense. You know what doesn't make sense as well? And I agree with you with this comment, OJ. What doesn't make sense is there's so much things that's working throughout the game, and then suddenly you just, bam, go back to square one and start going long. Like, that's one thing that just does not make sense to me. Going long is not a style of play. That's not a form of play. It's none of that. It's none of that. And that's what I don't like to see from Manchester United. I would much rather Manchester United continue at the way that they're playing, because it's evidently showing that they've got a style to break down the low block, than to just go back to the keeper and go long. Like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see the keeper targeting Garnacho for a long ball. I don't want to see him targeting Rashford for a long ball. And I don't want to see him targeting Ahmad for a long ball. I don't want to see long ball football, because to me, long ball football is just a cop out. You can't do what you're trying to do, so you just go long. You just go long. I really feel like today is 2 points dropped. United have dropped 2 points in this. I'm not happy with the draw. And maybe it's because I just feel like United should have won. They should have won. Anyone else frustrated by the lack of urgency in the last 20 minutes? It was slow, lethargic, and zero penetration. I actually said that I think that was instructions. I think United realized, you know what, we're not getting the ball in the back of the net. Let's just make sure we don't concede. Let's take this thing. And that's why I said the substitutions took this thing out of the game, because it got to I think it was like the 82nd minute. And I remember the ball went back to De Ligt and Licha. Slow. They go to Ugarte, go back. Go forward, go back. Side, back. Like, it just took, those substitutions took the sting out of the game. And for me, confirmed that United were happy to just shut up shop and just make sure they don't concede. And I understand that to an extent, because, historically United have conceded goals late. I get that part. But I also don't understand why you would decide to do that when United had the upper hand throughout most of the game. And I can't help but think that the substitutions created that scenario for Manchester United. You have Rashford coming on, who, like, I don't know if it's because he's come off the bench and he's not happy coming off the bench. And he's like, but the only way you can not come off the bench is if you perform and you score. Break the deadlock. Get the goal. Change the game. That's literally how you get your spot back. Erik Ten Hag is going to brag about this clean sheet. I mean, it's a good thing that United got the clean sheet, right? That is a positive. But equally so, there are still kind of like, oh, we could have had a clean sheet and had 3 points and a couple of goals on the score sheet. I would do player ratings, guys, but I don't want to. I do not want to do player ratings. For me, it bothers me so much that Dean Henderson was man of the match. Like, do you guys understand how annoyed I am that Dean Henderson was given man of the match today? I am rattled. He's actually rattled me. I can't stand him. I cannot stand him. Erik Ten Hag is stuck with the idea of having long balls for Rashford. That for me, long balls is always plan B. Like, plan A is not working, go to plan B. And I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think if plan A is not working, you keep at it if it's beneficial and you're clearly seeing that it's just the final part that's lacking. It wasn't United's build-up in the first half. The issue was not United's build-up. It wasn't ball retention. It wasn't creativity. It wasn't any of that. It wasn't defending. It wasn't none of that. It wasn't their shape. The problem was just putting the ball in the back of the net. That's it. And having, what was it? I think it was like 4 big chances in the game. That for me is question mark. It's going to be really interesting to see, like, United, we struggle to score goals under Erik Ten Hag. I don't know how it's going to get better in terms of scoring more goals and in terms of taking your chances. But I guess we've got to wait and see, guys. We've got to definitely wait and see. We deserve better. I hope you're doing well. Says we have 3 clean sheets in 5 Premier League matches. That's another positive. That is another that is true. That is true. We got 3 clean sheets. 2 of them were wins. So that is a positive to take. And maybe we should give credit to Man United's defending. Has it improved? Because United are conceding a lot less shots on goal. They're conceding a lot less shots on target. So that means the defense has improved somewhat for that to happen. But defense, that's not going to win you games. Defense does not win you games. Goals do. So we can kind of look at it both sides. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, if you haven't. If you've just come through, you know the rules, man. You come in, you wipe your feet, and you hit the like button, and then you get involved in the chat. If you want to join the members gang, aka the Minions Club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course you get to support the growth of the channel. If you want to support the channel in other ways, you can by sending in super chats, by showing some love, or you can just do something simple and hit the like button and subscribe. The algorithm on YouTube is a bit of a mess sometimes for smaller channels. So it really helps. It really helps with the algorithm. But you guys know what it is. In about 15 or so minutes, 5 things we learned from this game will be out. 5 in 5 will drop. So make sure you guys check that out and get involved in the comment section of that video. I'll be back inshallah tomorrow with a daily dose of Mina as well. As always, I'm off to watch the boxing. Like I said, my family's coming over. I haven't brought any snacks. Guys, I've been running around all day doing stuff. This is my 3rd stream of the day. I did 2 watch alongs, which were like 2 hours and a half each. I didn't buy any snacks. So I hope people don't turn up to my house empty-handed. I hope they don't turn up snackless. I asked one of my siblings to get snacks, and I know she probably will. So it will be a good one. It will be a good one. I have no interest whatsoever in boxing per se. But I always like to watch a big fight. I'm not gonna lie. So I'll be watching it. And shout out to KG because he's commentating for DAZN on one of their streams. So if you are watching the fight on DAZN, make sure you check out the one with KG on commentary. But that's all I got, man. That's all I got, guys. 5 in 5 will be dropping in about the next 15 or so minutes. I just need to actually upload it and edit the thumbnail. And I will be back tomorrow, as I mentioned, with daily dose of Mina. Hit the like button on your way out. No 3 points for United, but it's a clean sheet and a point at Selhurst Park for Erik ten Hag. So I think he can see the benefits in that. You don't know what it is. I'm out. Have a good one, guys. Peace.